I can see it. I can see it. You know, bringing a little bit of that disheveled look to the show. Hey, I totally get that myself. We are loaded in though, and in the bottom left we have the red Terran player representing Team Liquid. He is Clem.
And in the top right-hand side, he gathered 48% of your votes, which is kind of crazy to me. For the Platinum Heroes, it is Goblin. Are you on Team Clay or on Team Job? Job? Or did you never?
You know what team I'm on? I saw a certain very handsome Englishman in the Twitch chat earlier, and I don't really know what he meant when he said it, but I believe the correct pronunciation was something like, you love it, you wear it. And, you know, I have stolen all of my best ideas from Caleris over the course of my career, and now that line as well. So I'm going to go, that obviously means that I'm here to support Clem, just because he geographically lives closer to a place where people talk with that accent. And I don't care to verify how accurate that statement may be either.
I love it, Nate. But you wear it.
Oh, thank you.
We have a little bit of a scout here, nothing too eventful. That's funny because we were actually talking about that same commercial like right before Caleris said that. He's not in our call, and yet he was somehow synced up with us in the mind.
Well, I mean, you got to imagine when you're at that caliber of esports fame and celeb, you've got a hand in every pot. You know what I mean? He's like he's more connected than Littlefinger, you know, and he's still alive too, so he's doing great there. As I'm interested in this match mostly because we like did the joking thing with Max PvP. Oh, he's so good, and then just cheesed him out. And I like that Goblin is not a player that is afraid to take risks. I think that Clem might be a little bit too stable for that type of style to really knock him off his feet, especially if he is playing, you know, more middle of the road style. I don't think that Clem necessarily needs to be overly greedy, and that to me is where I'm like looking for the balance here. How aggressive will Goblin be? How many risks will Clem take that might leave him open to getting caught off guard by Goblin?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, like I was saying, that this is a matchup where Goblin is going to be looking to absorb first and foremost. And when I talked to him, he said something along the lines of, it really depends for his chances on whether Clem does annoying builds or not. Take that for what you will, but it sounds to me like he is afraid of, you know, when I think of annoying Terran builds, and I put myself in the shoes of a Protoss player, I think Widow Mines, for example, are very annoying. Missing the grenade catapult there.
Yeah, trying to launch himself through that little corner. It can be a little bit awkward, a little bit dicey. We've seen this a bunch of times though this season. The little Reaper Hellion run by a Reno. Just grab a couple of probes. It gives you information, and it is just so annoying because, you know, Protoss players, you hate having to scramble around your own base, trying to chase these things down, repositioning everything. Like it's just awkward, and then losing the workers, of course, is always going to be tough. In PvT, you're supposed to get up to that like 7 to 8 worker lead relatively early. That's what the mules are for on the Terran side. But Terran is always trying to get a couple of those kills early on to try and equalize that. And it looks like, well, it turns out, so, you know, you go, I don't know what to say. He might have just been like a little bit too much Super Saiyan and could have caused an EMP in his room and knocked his computer out. So we'll have to wait for that to stabilize, I guess, and we might have to reboot this one in a moment. We'll have to get this one reset. So thanks for bearing with us. Goblin was probably powering up a little bit too hard as he was getting ready for this match. So we'll keep our eyes on that as we get ready to go back into it. Still kind of counting down, but Anyway, Cats, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Nate. How are you?
I'm great. I think
I like
my
that
dog was broken.
Your tank top is like the same color as your skin almost.
Yeah. Well, you know, it makes bigots really uncomfortable. So that's one of the things that I really thrive off of these days. You know what I mean? You know?
I love it.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm the greatest caster or the best dressed one, but I'm not volunteering my time to complain about somebody else's wardrobe. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure.
And you're always looking snazzy, Paolo. Is that? I can't tell with your lighting. Is it a red or an orange shirt that you have on? Yeah,
it is red.
You're looking great. You're looking great as always.
So it's a little difficult to tell for sure.
These guys don't even know. Paolo's coming to my wedding, and I know that we're great friends, and I love you so much. But the real reason is so that I can tell so I can tell someone I do have a friend who dresses well. So that's really important. You pull through for me there.
Well, yeah. A lot of pressure now. Live on broadcast, thousands of people watching.
It's okay. They thankfully as soon as I'm off screen, they'll forget. Goblin hit 0. I think we're all gonna remake this. He hasn't like fully dropped from it yet, so we're all just stuck in the purgatory of the waiting for players screen.
We are.
If you know what that's like. I think just the referees can vote. So we just wait a second and hopefully everything is okay.
Yeah, both referees for the time being are kind of agreeing, it seems, with Clem. It's most likely going to be leaving this game whenever StarCraft allows and then recovering it. But talking about your wedding then, Nate, I've heard there's an Anchorman theme to it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
I'm thinking,
pretty hype.
So give me your best velvet burgundy suit. Get like a nice sky blue tie.
I mean, as soon as I read that, I've actually been researching, like the Anchorman suits to see which one might fit. But yeah,
keeps it affordable too. You never know what you'll find at your local Sally's. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Don't have to not asking anybody to break the bank over it. As we're still waiting for this game to like finish crashing. I guess I think everybody is still in here just looking at the countdown timer be at 0. And you'll also this will be the least surprising thing you hear all day, but we'll have chicken tenders there, Paolo. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Don't worry about that. I'm excited for it, Nate. And I'm excited for this game as well. I mean, to recap what has been going on for anyone that's not just now joining us. Clem ran in, killed 3 probes. Maybe it could have been mitigated a little bit by Goblin with a little bit better micro on the probes. He kind of just continued to mine, which means that a couple of those probes stacked up for the Hellion Reaper. And 3 probes and full scout. So Clem is going to be happy to remake from where we left off. It's a tiny advantage, but like I said, he does get the scout as well, so he knows that he is kind of in a comfortable position, right? Which, if you are the overdog, you often just want to know, I'm not dying anytime soon. That's kind of a good thing.
I love overdog, by the way. That's probably one of my favorite words. I think, so we're hearing that Goblin's internet died. Hopefully it comes back, maybe a little more Gandalf the White style. And we'll get back into it as soon as we can. I believe we are going to resume from the replay because significant things in the game have happened. Mm-hmm. So we're just chilling. Not too much more to hyperanalyze out of the game. I think that it looks, I don't even know how much we really should say. So how's the weather over there, Paolo? How are you doing?
It's pretty cold in the mornings, but still sunny. And then towards the afternoons, it gets a little bit warmer. And then
that's amazing. I love you so much. They said we can go to break, so we're going to do that because I do not know how long this will
take. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to hopefully get back into this one as we've got Clem going up against Goblin. It's Terran versus Protoss. It's action-packed, it's chaos, it's magical, and we are in a lobby to resume the game from the replay and hopefully pick up at the exact correct time with no other hijinks. Goblin is back on. His internet appears to be working, so fingers crossed. And cats, we should be back into it momentarily.
Yeah, should be pretty easy to do as well, right? Just gotta speed it up till the very end, and then we'll be there. But yeah, I was happy to see that the chat also thought that the 1925 CEST meant thought that they meant 1925 minute break. So I thought I was alone in that. But then a couple of people reassured me that that looked like a waiting time.
Yeah. Oh, hey, when the internet goes down, you never know, right? It's typically something that's outside the hands of the people that are suffering. So it is recovering the game. We got this beautiful loading screen. It's my favorite. This is the standard StarCraft 2 booting up wallpaper. I just get stared at by Kerrigan, Raynor, and Artanis as the game slowly recovers back. But thankfully, we weren't like 30 minutes into the game, so I think it'll finish in about 15 seconds at worst, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, now that you mentioned that, I've been staring at their faces. It seems like Raynor is pretty sweaty in there, in the suit. So understandably so. A little greasy on the hair as well. But, yeah, we're loaded in, it seems. So players are asking, we're asking players whether they're ready. They are, and the countdown has begun. The game has resumed, and we are back in. For everyone that's joining in, recap: it's Clem versus Goblin. Clem on the bottom left-hand side, Goblin on the top right-hand side, and this is still the early game. Mostly uneventful. 3 probes have gone down, but nothing too major.
No, nothing super crazy. And as far as TVP is concerned, kind of what we were talking about before the crash, the Blink, robotics facility, third base, these are all very standard things for Protoss. Goblin up 39 probes to 30 SCVs. So he's going to be looking to spread those probes out amongst that third as it finishes up. And the mules, of course, for Clem are what he's going to try to use to keep that economic parity. Cyclone does get the Adept. I like the early Cyclone openers. I like just having the Cyclone Raven kind of takes away the passive style from Protoss. Like if you move out with the Blink Stalkers, the opportunity to try and jump on that, or you killing the Cyclone or the Raven are both big pickups to get early on, but you kind of have to be there on the map to do it. So whether Clem can deny high ground vision by getting the Observer before the Stalkers sync up with it is possibly an interesting question, because Stim has only just begun. And with the tank finishing up and having one already in the natural, I don't think that there should be too much Goblin can really do to him here.
Yeah, at the same time, Clem will not have the Raven available here on site, as it is at the north here, and ready to go and harass with auto turrets potentially at the natural expansion of Goblin. He is now going maybe towards the third. I'm not sure if I like that better. There's going to be a little bit more of a heads up, but even if he went into the natural, it's not the easiest access point. Like, you're not going directly into a mineral line, you're going into the gas and the pylon first. So it will get spotted regardless. A well-placed turret forces the entire middle line to be evacuated there at the middle. And now we'll take this very annoying position in the back where really you can only dislodge it with Phoenix, right? And it's so annoying to drop a Stargate just to get the Raven out of this annoying position.
Yeah, it's again, I'm going to say it every single match, every single day of these groups, but these maps, man, you got a lot of spots to hide those forces. So we're going to continue to see those strategies be very popular. And maybe perhaps the downside here is that Observer, he might just coast on past it. And he's going to construct the third on location, it looks like. And seeing this, if you're a Protoss, I think this is where you get that little glint. You know, the eyes flash green for a second. He's maybe feeling a little bit greedy, could easily end up denying it or delaying it a lot if Clem tries to leave his base. So at the same time, Goblin doesn't want to have all of his units out on the map because this is a pretty big push coming out of the Terran. He just doesn't really have everything in place yet for it. And the secondary Observer can see that the tanks are chilling in the brush.
Yeah, here comes the Raven ready to join with its army. It escaped basically the main of Goblin while this was all going on. Goblin tried to stop it with a little bit of a blink, but wasn't able to, and now clearing that Observer for free. But Goblin is already here and actually ready to pounce onto the unsieged tank. The Stalker's not enough to one-shot the tank, but 2 shots will do it. now having to retreat as the bio will stim. There's now the medevacs joining as well, so sustainability here on the side of Clem to continue. And the Raven, I mean, it used one auto turret, but no more than that. So this Colossus in trouble as well to get disabled.
And that's bringing the Raven back is so huge in this situation, just for that disable, like you were saying. The tank doesn't really get to do what it wanted, but even if the Colossus gets healed by the shield battery, he's now zoned him out of the third base enough that he can get a couple of the probes and, of course, pick off maybe some of these other forces while they continue to push him away from that base. So not a bad way to use those units at all. I think you would like to ideally lift up in the medevacs and get somewhere safe. He drops the auto turret before just to make sure it's a little bit tougher. I think you got to wait for the reinforcements because it looks like he's got 2 medevacs bolting over to the fourth base of Goblin. And this is a huge opportunity for Clem because this is where we really see him shine in this matchup, ripping and tearing and just stretching that Protoss player apart until they break.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he does, right? And the auto turret, like you were mentioning, absolutely brilliant from Clem. He just wants to prevent the blink back because it's so apparent that Goblin should look to punish when you have finally the upper hand after Clem has already traded effectively. Goblin does a good job of readjusting here, does kind of thwart the aggression on both prongs. And yeah, I mean, the game is still kind of going, but Clem has a significant advantage now in terms of supply. Does that translate into anything? Is that from the forges, or is Clem actually just that good?
I think the damage that he got over there is just that good, because now 62 to 67 workers having delayed that fourth base especially, or put the pressure on it. It finished up, which is nice, but he's not mining the gas off of all of his bases either. So he's still kind of putting a lot of that into the upgrades, into some of the tech-based units. So you're feeling very heavy on gateway units. Yeah, and with the Widow Mines backing up the army, it's going to be hard to just yeet Zealots into this. And the Raven disable on the Colossus gives him a little bit more time to take these fights too. Actually, the mine shot getting onto the Colossus there as well, a little bit unusual. And then hitting that top side base again. This is what Clem is just so good at, though. You have that hint, that like sprinkle of early pressure at the start where Goblin wanted to do something, and then as soon as Clem gets stim, he's like, no, I'm coming to the other side of the map, and you are not going to have a second to breathe.
Yeah, absolutely not. The Raven will finally get taken down, and this aggression will get pushed back in the main, but the third, like you were mentioning, has already fallen. 9 probes additionally to that. This Marauder's likely to fall, but Clem will be tending to them, loading them back up. So things are looking pretty grim for Goblin now. 50 supply behind, he is lagging. And yeah, that shield battery as well at the third was a little bit mispositioned, perhaps, right? It was a little bit exposed, and that made it easier for Clem to just pick it off and continue on with the aggressions. Looking very difficult for Goblin to recover from this point on.
Yeah, once the fourth base dies, that's when the wheels start to come off the wagon, because at least he was making a decent amount of income prior to this, but now he's down 10 workers. Clem with a very nice economy, as well as another push onto this base. And if the observers aren't here, now there's an armory, so the Widow Mines are going to be more difficult to clean up. And he's not going to just attack in one spot. We know that that's not what he does. Somehow that medevac, I don't know that it gets away without unloading and leaving those units to die, but it looks like it gets away. And this is, I mean, we're just watching textbook TVP. Marines, Marauders, medevacs. Not a whole lot of flavor, but a whole lot of meat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking about the shield battery earlier and how it was mispositioned. So this time around, Goblin tucks it in, but from the angle that Clem was coming at, it's completely exposed as well. And this 2-prong aggression has worked wonders for the Frenchman here, as Goblin is really running thin on options, and I'm not sure what he can do from this point on, Nate.
Not a whole lot. Like, if you think about comeback plays for Protoss, and it's usually something in the line of Storm or getting together this Death Ball. The Colossi in general are fantastic, but he just does not have enough gateway units underneath them because of all the things that we've talked about, and losing that economy. How do you protect this enough that it can do what it needs to? You want to have some Psy Storm in there. You want to be able to get a Prism out, but that's the other side of it. Clem has the watchtower on the bottom right. He now is spreading units out across the northwest end of where Goblin's base is. So how do you get a Prism out versus this and force him to go back home? How do you disrupt the economy, disrupt the production? You can't. And some Templar are coming in now, but he can't really make that move to Storm either. So they're just going to turn into Archons, and he's hoping for one big decisive fight where these Colossi melt the entire army, which that's still going to be asking for a lot because we got +1 ship weapons and 4 Vikings being made at a time.
Yeah, and Colossus aren't quite as erratic, quite as explosive as Disruptors might be. Where Disruptors, at least you have that shot of landing an unfair and completely out of place shot that shouldn't happen, and then maybe you come back. Colossus are going to have constant damage output, so you're really going to be relying on your opponent giving you a fight with bad positioning and into a choke or something of the likes. Clem seems very unlikely to do something like that, so it's looking extremely difficult. And like you were saying, he has complete map control, Clem. He has set up a perimeter around Goblin. Nothing is going to escape Goblin's base without Clem knowing, and he's just going to continue to deny this base.
Yeah, and it shuts it down once again. Beautifully put, Cats. Goblin can slowly put together this very heavy gateway army. Can't make it quite as fancy as he perhaps would have otherwise wanted to. Little micro there trying to save the Colossi, and you like to see that. Can kind of play around this terrain a little bit. Stalkers can't really blink under the Vikings if they're on that corner spot, at least not super easily. But he just has to keep expanding while he puts this pressure up. The best case scenario here is Clem's going to spread out and get some big EMPs. The Vikings not really getting that good target fire. All the Colossi were alive for most of the fight, just taking a couple of hits, but he pulls back with the Prism. 2 of them have dropped, and that will do it. I was just going to say last few words there. As long as Clem keeps expanding behind this and doesn't like accidentally put himself all in, then it's really hard to overextend because those bio units just build so quickly. All he needs is an even trade, and Goblin just didn't have the money. So great first game by Clem. Goes up 1-0 to start this series off, and that's exactly what you expect. If you're a Clem fan, you tuned in, you thought it, you saw this match on the schedule and you wanted to watch it. I think you got exactly what you were looking for there.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Goblin, I mean, towards the end there, obviously he wasn't in a very dire position, but it almost seems like he lost his composure. Like I think would have been better off just waiting up that high ground, blinks to the low ground, and then takes a very spread out fight against Clem that has a huge concave, right? That's where the Colossus are absolutely not going to thrive. There's a little bit of that debris in the middle as well, which allows for the Vikings to output damage without being so threatened. So I understand why Goblin just kind of maybe wants to get it over with, wants to see if he can take a miracle fight, but that was definitely not the engagement to take. But at the same time, he was so dead that I feel like, just go for it and move on to the next map is not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's all about getting those momentum, right? Getting things rolling. You get a couple punches in early on the probes. Protoss hasn't taken a huge amount of damage, but they've given up their early offensive agency to stay home and be safe against this, right? If the Stalkers get caught trying to go across the map, or if he's trying to check around his base for anything, then he could get up. We saw, I think it was Clem versus Art, got like 12 probes with that early little Reaper Hellion poke. So it's such an unthreatening thing that it can't really end the game, but at the same time still needs to be respected so much because the damage it can do can just take all the wind out of the sails, and you're just kind of stuck adrift hoping something falls into your lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are going to go into the second map, and let's see if Goblin can bounce back. This is a little bit of a shorter map here, and we are all loaded in. And in the top right-hand side, playing for Team Liquid, he is the most winning player in all of this event. It is Clem. This event's history, I should say.
And his opponent in the bottom left might need to try and break something cheeky out here in this one in blue. He is Goblin.
What would you like to see, Nate?
I'd like to see Goblin get really aggressive. I think that Clem was pretty well set up for anything aggressive, but I still don't see a way where you're going to try to go into a macro game against this and shut all of it down. Otherwise, it just needs to be something really weird that is specifically designed to make playing the way that Clem wants to awkward. And I don't know that you really want to like open Phoenix and just say, yeah, you should just sit back and max out on bio, because I think you probably still get wrecked in that situation too. But if you can do something that gives you that early game control in some way and then turn it into a big timing to follow it up, then I feel like maybe with enough of pressure applied at the right point, you can get something done. But it's hard to see the holes. Yeah, it's hard to see the holes in Clem's game from that first map.
Yeah, I was thinking Phoenix, right? Like Clem opened Raven, and Phoenix are generally good at shutting down the aggression, multi-prong aggression with medevacs, etc. The problem is also this map is not ideal for Phoenix, I think, because it is a very short map, right? So you could get hard punished by, like, say, 3 racks openings. So there's a little bit of that rock, paper, scissors type dynamic that we have to account for as well. But yeah, it's really up to Goblin. Hopefully he has something prepared here, as Clem is going to be the cheeky one to start here, dropping a bunker in the back of Goblin's base, unscouted for now.
Yeah, we still see this play get busted out every once in a while. It can be really annoying to deal with. You think about it, Goblin is saturated on his main base, so ideally he wants to be moving workers down to that natural immediately, and this can be really, really, really frustrating. He will be able to poke it from the high ground with a stalker or a depth, though, so he doesn't really have to do that normal dancing back and forth, but he still might lose some units. And an early probe kill there, very nice.
Yeah, very, very nice if you're a Clem fan. Not so much if you like Goblin's chances here, heading on forward. But yeah, he's going to poke it from the high ground like you were saying, and there's only 1 unit in the bunker, so at this point in time, Clem's not going to be keen on taking it out to provide vision for nothing. So yeah, there's going to be a shield battery as well. I'm not sure if that's a little bit of an overkill, but I guess it's fair given that the SCV can't really be harassed here, so it can just endlessly repair and deny the mining on this base.
And there is the blink. So all things said, I think the only thing we're missing as far as that first game contrast goes is the robotics facility. But even though he's dealing with it, it's still taking a while. And all the probes are in the main base. He's got 24 of 16. When you're mining, it's that, so that 16 number is all if you have 16 and it says 16, then they're all going to mine at 100% efficiency. 17, 18, those guys still mine at like above 90%. So it's not bad to have 18, but now they're all clumped up too because they're all in that one base. The Hellions just run on in, and there's big potential here to get a lot of probe kills.
Yeah, a little bit of a good split to start there, but now amounting to 5 probe kills just off of the first couple of Hellions, and that's gonna be it.